It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast, and as always, we are brought to you by ProphetX. Use code FGDegenerates for 1.5% cash back when you play every single play in the first 30 days, up to $200. You've tuned into DGen Nation Station with my co-host, Kenneth Kim, on the brown couch. What's up, Kenny?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Another big event, big tournament. With Jack's tournament coming up, had a good Colonial. We'll talk about that here, and I'm ready for the U.S. Open, man. Actually, I'm ready for Canada. I'll be in Toronto, June 5th for the live PNE. If you're in the Toronto area or don't mind traveling, tickets are still available for the live showing of the PNE. It'll be on Saturday, June 7th, at 8 o'clock at a place called the Deck, I think, in Toronto, right, Mike? It's called the Deck.
I thought it was called the Rec Room.
Okay, the Rec Room. That's it. Yeah. Maybe it's the Rec Room. Yeah. Whatever it's called, I'll be there. It'll be a fun time. Staying in the middle of Toronto. Looking forward to it. Contemplating seeing a matinee of Lion King at some point at the Pantages Theater.
It's really good. I went to go see it.
Did you go see it?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about going to see Lion King. It's one of the musicals I haven't seen. We got a dinner with the whole crew Friday night. Hopefully we get to play some golf. It should be a fun time. Of course, we got the show on Saturday with all the fans, a meet and greet. You get to meet Cam, you get to meet Rob, you get to meet Cuss. You get to meet all the PME guys. I'll be there as well. You guys can definitely buy me a drink or 20. I will accept all drinks while I'm there. My goal is to not buy a cocktail while on that Saturday at the Rec Room. So I would like that to happen.
Your goal needs to be to have Kenny crawl out of the Rec Room.
Yeah, I mean, I basically did this past week. I don't drink as much as I used to, and I've been drinking this beer called Partly Cloudy. Right, it's called Solace Partly Cloud. It's delicious. Like, I don't really drink beer. It's a local beer, local brewery here. It's actually getting big nationwide. And it's like a IPA, but it's not like super hoppy. Like most IPAs, actually really refreshing. It's almost like a grapefruity type beer. It's perfect for the summer. But it's like 9%.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9%. I had like 3 of those and 2 shots on the course when I played this past Saturday. And it was my best 9 of the week. I was lit by the time I finished. I started drinking on the 9th hole, I think, the 8th hole, and I shot a 41 on the back. No doubles.
Let's go.
6 bogeys and 3 pars. My best 9 of the year, and I was hammered. And then we went out to eat. It became a whole night, and yeah, it was. Had to recover all day yesterday. I didn't do much. Didn't get up till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, but it was fun. Didn't get to watch much of the Colonial. But before we move on, any other words before we move on? YouTube.
Yeah, shout out to our guy, Tim Peterson, 3043, who chose Ben Griffin to win this week. Shout out to him. You get a free month in the Model Maniac Patreon. Link in the description below, or just message me on X at the Model Maniac. I'll get you in there this week. Leave your comments in the description below and let us know who is going to win this week's memorial. The first person to let us know who that person is gets a free month in the Model Maniac Patreon. I haven't cleared out anyone since like February. So you guys that have won free stuff, you've been in there for like 3 or 4 months now. So congratulations to all of you. I'm going to start kicking your ass out this week. So it's going to be a fun time just kind of cleaning house in the Model Maniac Patreon. We'll look for some new blood in there. All my tools, all my model sheets, all the showdown stuff. We had 2 guys in round 3, Kenny, win the same single $5 single entry with different lineups, same call. And then we had another guy win 20K in a GPP in our Model Maniac Patreon. So it was a good week for the, for the brand. And it was a fun week too. A lot of people attributed that to DGen75, who, we haven't had a real chance to chat about him on this show. I spoke a lot about it on mine. So I don't know if you want to share any words, Kenny, or if you cool with kind of moving on to the Colonial.
He was a good guy, big part of the community. Definitely sad that he passed. I mean, I guess it was known with what he had and what he did and the excitement that he brought, the energy it brought to all his shows. He was definitely one of one. He'll definitely be missed. And condolences to his family, to Tambo, to all the guys that ship it, who knew him. It was a sad week in the DFS industry.
Yeah, sad week in the DF industry, but at the same time, when the legacy he left behind just allows us to like celebrate the small victories like we had this kind of week. And it kind of just reminds you, I just got done with the memorial service with my dad here in town. We got a small little town and they put together a nice veterans thing. And just sitting there with him, like watching this really badly put together memorial service in a small town, still a very special time because I'm spending it with my father, who I don't really get to see much, because, he lives in a different country to me. So it's been nice to have him here looking after the little mini maniac and, just appreciate those that are around you. You never know when they won't be. So treasure every day, folks. And just thought I'd share that with you guys and love you all. Reach out to us if you got struggles going on. Reach out to people you love. I might start reaching out to people if this fly continues to drive me nuts on the microphone here. But Kenny, Ben Griffin, flying bunkers, flying dog legs around Colonial, guys like up to 180 mile per hour ball speed now. He's a new breed. Right?
I saw him hit some piss missiles out there. He drove the green on that one. Had an eagle on the first and second. He was 8 under on the first 2 holes
for the week
of the week, and he was 4 under for the rest. So
that's insane.
Those first 2 holes, basically, that's where he won the event. I think he had an eagle, 6 birdies, and a couple of pars, or in a par for the week on those first 2 holes, and just held on for dear life on the rest and did his thing. Matty Schmidt tried to make it a little bit closer on the second to last hole, but he bogeyed 16, and that one really hurt. Chipped in on 18 to put a little pressure on the 4-footer that Ben Griffin had. Of course, he nailed his second win this year. I think who has multiple wins this season?
Sepp, Rory,
Scheffler, Rory, Sepp, and Ben Griffin. Now, he did get his first solo win because it went Zurich, but with both Ben Griffin and Novak, it seems like there was something going to happen here soon with both of those guys. And Ben got it at the Colonial. Novak, maybe, I think he'll get his soon too, the way that he's been playing golf. I really didn't watch too much of the event. Like I said, I had a good Memorial Day weekend. My cash lineup hit, which was nice, even with the rye miscut. Hit a couple of ProphetX plays. If you aren't following me on X, make sure you follow at Kendo VT. Posted a couple of plays. Novak under 69.5 on Saturday. Spawn under 69.5 on Sunday. Of course, we got great numbers for those. We'll talk about that more when we get to the ProphetX segment. Bets weren't great. All my guys shit the bet on Sunday that I bet on. I don't know what happened. It was a little bit breezy on Sunday. We saw the winds flapping a little bit, and so it was nice to see Ben get that win. Former loan officer, retired from golf in 2021. Of course, it's a great story, and to do it at an event with that much prestige and on a tough course. The course played hard once again. The greens were very, very firm. And hopefully we see something similar to that this week at Jack's place.
Oh, yeah. That'll be for certain. Jack would raise hell just to make the greens firm and fast. But, Ben Griffin, was after the Valspar, right before the Masters, he missed out for a Masters invite by a fraction of a world golf point or some sort of point to Michael Kim. Had he finished one shot better or something, he might have had a Masters invite. So, just goes to show resilience, man. There's some guys that are like absolutely resilient and kind of get it done when they need to, even after some bad news, So like, shout out to Ben Griffin. His entire story is like bad news overcoming it, and good for him. I bet Scotty Scheffler to win the tournament with 3 places each way. Of course, he finished 4th. So, I'm doing great in that department there. Won't be doing that again. Now you are losing money betting Scotty Scheffler over the last 12 months. So I'm part of that fucking ridiculous group of people that I preached to last week not to do it, and I still fucking did it. So I don't know what I'm doing. It is what it is. I'll drink Potgieter, Kenny. T6 as well.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty surprising, especially on a course like this where, you're not his biggest strength is his driver. of course.
Yeah.
And, he didn't use it as much. I mean, I'm sure he used it more than other golfers, but it still wasn't like the main club of choice off the tee for the week. And that was surprising. The talent obviously is there with this guy. If you can just pick up a little consistency. Bud Colley, of course, with another really nice finish. Tommy Fleetwood, who was my one and done in the Mayo Cup. I moved up to 150th. I'm like 151st in the Mayo Cup. So we got Fleetwood there. So they're going to be shocking. I haven't bet Fleetwood in maybe a couple of years. I think he wins this week. I know it's weird. I know it's strange. I just have this feeling. I think this is the week Fleetwood gets it done. We'll talk about that in the betting segment. You can listen to my argument on why I'm going with Tommy this week. But his 41st top 10 on the PGA Tour without a win. I think he's first in that by, I think, 7 or 8. I think Brett Quigley or something like that. I had 32 or 34. Grandolette was up there in the 30s as well. But, Tommy was up there. Other guys who showed up pretty well. I mean, Novak just keeps getting these top finishes week in and week out. Bezidenhout helped me out in cash. He also was in the Slider Cup one and done. I still kept my ranking in 3rd place in the Slider Cup. Like I said, I didn't get to watch too much of it this week, but I'm ready for the more.
Yeah, I just want to I want to just grill Akshay Bhatia, who needs to start nutting it up a little bit. Like 67, 66, 69, 74 on Sunday for him. He missed the cut.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday was tough.
It was tough. It was tough. But at the same time, like, we saw this at the PGA Championship. He missed the cut, I think, in like epic fashion. Was cruising to making the cut, and then I think played like the final couple holes well over par. And he's just like stumbling, when it matters most. So it's just kind of weird. I want him to get it back because I like watching him play some good golf too. He's a little scrawny. Shout out to scrawny guys out there.
I mean, Ricky Fowler was in the final group, finishing 16th. But he
not surprising.
He was in the final pairing. So, I mean, that's something for Ricky.
Yeah. I don't think Ricky's ever been in the final pairing and finished like 10 or better. Like he just completely, in his bright orange jumpsuit, just ejects out of the pairing like immediately. So shout out to Ricky and his eject button too. Kenny, any other things you want to mention before we kind of get into Memorial? We are recording this at lunchtime for me, noon Central Time, 1 Eastern. So we are completely out of sync. I'm eyeing down a cold, twisted tea. We're going to be hitting the golf course here after this on a Memorial Monday. Anything else you want to mention, Kenny, before we kind of get into this week's stuff?
It's pretty crazy seeing Kenny's daylight shining through his window. I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
we got a different angle today.
Got a little golfer's tan there. I'm really impressive tan lines there on the short sleeves, Kenny.
I'm playing a lot of golf.
God damn, I'm jealous of you, man.
I'm playing at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. I probably played since February. I think I've played 20 rounds.
That's good.
I'm trying to play 40 or 50 this year.
What's your goal?
I just want to consistently break 90s soon. I shot 91, but I shot a 50 on the front this past week. Which is not great. I played like ass on the front and just started getting hammered, and went out there and just played lights out. I think the big thing for me was what I shifted was I changed my pre-shot routine. Like what I've been doing is I've been doing these week practice swings. So this week I decided, what I'm gonna do, and it makes me play a little bit longer. But I do full practice swings until I like the swing that I just swung. And then I move into the ball and try to imitate that last swing that I just did. Sometimes it only takes one practice swing. Sometimes it takes 4 for me. But I want that one when it feels good on the practice swing and I'm doing the whole swing, 100%, full bore swing for my warm up. And when I'm a little bit behind the ball. And so I started doing this on the back nine and it really helped. It made me play a little bit longer, like I said, but it's a weekend on a muni, you know what I'm saying? You're playing slow anyway. So it's not like and it was a perfect we were in a perfect bubble. The person in front of us were playing fast, person behind us were playing really slow. So it was nice out there. And then I started doing that for my putting as well, where I would do strokes where I look at the putt, look at the hole, do my strokes to get the speed, go down, do a couple of practice strokes to get my line, then look again at the hole to try and get the final speed, then go up and putt. So for me, I just got to make sure I keep doing these same routines over and over again. That's working. I thought a little bit less about my swing, and just went out there and just made sure, I was doing what I was doing and tried to recreate the last swing that I did, practice swing that I did before I stepped up to the ball. And so hopefully that helps, and we'll see how it goes for the rest of the year, because honestly, like the last 5 or 6 rounds have been really bad. I had like a 5 or 6 round stretch that was good before, and then 5 or 6 rounds that were really bad. So it's been sort of inconsistent. And I think it's because I've been trying to adjust and change things so much. I think I'm just going to focus on that pre-shot routine 100% more. And that's going to be my main focus. And then that, having that last stroke before I go and line up and hit the ball be a stroke that I'm comfortable with and try and imitate that. I think that's what I'm going to go with for the rest of the season.
I love it. And I think that's a great bit of advice for people that are shooting over 90, because your swing is not nearly as consistent. I think the closer you get to like breaking 80, shooting par, typically you want the exact same shit going on every single time, but you still are doing the exact same thing, but in a variation kind of way. So I think that's a great idea, Kenny. Makes lots and lots of sense. I found I've been playing a lot better, just kind of clearing my whole brain, just letting my thousands of swings I've done over my career take control when I'm standing over the ball, instead of like freaking out, so stand over, just clear your brain, let the muscles that you've just felt do what they can do. Your brain is so powerful. So emptying it out is almost the best way to kind of play golf. So, golf is so mental. 80% of golf can be solved before you move a muscle, man. Like address, technique, all of that stuff. But this isn't a golf lesson podcast. This is the Memorial Golf Tournament presented by MasterCard, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Sweet Tea Sensations. Kenny, ProphetX or course preview?
Let's do the course preview. The PGA Tour moves to Ohio for the Memorial Tournament from Muirfield Village. 4 years ago, Jack made a bunch of changes to the course. He redid all the grass on the fairways and greens, adjusted the bunkers, changed the contours on the greens, added a bunch of new trees, added new tee boxes, especially on the par fives, lengthened it out about 100 plus yards. The course lengthening, fairway grass changing, redoing of the bunkers aren't a huge big of a deal. But the greens, definitely very important. What we've seen the last few years is, these greens stay firm and fast. They have that sub-air system down there. So we're supposed to see some rain Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd expect Thursday to be the best scoring conditions that we're going to get. It's not going to be that windy. It's going to be as soft as of course will be for the week. You really got to get your scoring in on day one, I think. And then you see the wind picking up Friday and Saturday, 15 to 25 mile per hour gusts. It's going to dry everything out. Those greens are going to be very, very firm. It is going to be a tough scoring course. Of course, one thing you see here is, Jack always wants this course to play as tough as possible. And so, that's what you're going to expect. Other things you see this course in the last 8 years, I think that the worst odds that have won this event is 66 to 1. It's been 66 to 1 or, worse odds or better odds, whatever, lower odds for every winner since then. We haven't seen the real like outliers. Now we used to with like Lee Mirth winning here and stuff like that, but 500 to 1. But recently it has not been the case. And now, especially now that it is a signature event, I think it's less likely to be the case. I think you sort of, when on your betting card, you sort of try and snag those guys up top, as many as you can. And so when we get to the betting segment, what I've done is I've used the Bet365 3 places to get juiced up numbers, so I can get more of those guys up top instead of being 12 to 1 or 20 to 1, instead of being 25 to 1 or 45 to 1. When you do the 3 places each way on Bet365. And that's the way I'm going, because I want more of those guys up top. Now, the guys that I have on my card, not the typical guys you would normally see on my card. Definitely a little bit different this week, but we'll go about that here soon. Now, Muirfield
Congrats
Village.
on all of them finishing fourth, Kenny.
I know. So Muirfield Village, 7,550-ish yard par 72, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s, most of which, I mean, they're a little bit tougher to reach now with the added length that they've added, like 20 to 25 yards. You see a lot more people laying up on these par 5s, especially if you don't hit the fairway. If you're not hitting the fairway, this rough, it's going to be 4.5 inches thick. You're not going to be able to reach. So now off the tee, golfers are going to see tree line fairways that are above average in width until the 300-yard mark off the tee. After that, the fairways get much more narrow. There are deep fairway bunkers and water on play in like 12, 13 holes. The water is quite tricky here as the creeks sometimes run along side the entire hole, in some cases through the middle of the fairway. Now, with the wide fairways, you'd think this is a driver-heavy course, but the last few years, like 2019, it was bottom 10 on courses on driving distance, average distance of like 282. Like you look at like 2021, it was only 285 yards was the driving distance. We've seen similar numbers to that here recently. Like golfers have to avoid the trouble that surrounds the fairways. So on many tee shots, the drivers will be left in the bag. If these fairways are missed, thick 4.5 inch rough will make the approach shots into these smaller screens very difficult. Though they'd rather be in the rough than a fairway bunker. The bogey or worse percentage here after hitting a fairway bunker is close to 60%, well above tour average. Leaving the ball below the hole on approaches is important as many of the greens slope from back to front. Even though the greens have been reconfigured, this aspect remains the same. Golfers that hit over the greens will have very difficult chips. If they hit it deep and the pin location is in the back, it's almost an auto bogey. The softening of this course from rain has drastically changed the difficulty in the past. Like you go all the way back to 2015, the course was soft. The scoring average was under par. It was like the 23rd most difficult course on tour. A couple of years before that, it was dry and firm, and it was like the 5th most difficult course on tour. Now they got that state-of-the-art sub-air system. It's possible like a light rain might not make the course like easier at all. Something we saw like last week at Colonial. You saw like the fairways had a good amount of roll, but it wasn't crazy. But those greens definitely had that first big hop. They were very, very firm. We'll see something like that again this week. The greens are bent grass and are usually firm depending on the weather. And with the sub-air, they're probably always going to be firm. Now, once again, water and sand come into play around the putting surface, and the greens themselves are somewhat hilly, undulating, and multi-tiered. The final 3-hole stretch, very difficult. Long par 3, 2 very long par 4s with danger everywhere. Since the fairways are fairly easy to hit, this course is definitely an approach shot-driven course. Finding golfers with good iron play and good short game, that's going to be the key this week.
Yeah, I think you're looking for like good total drivers as well, Kenny, where you have a guy that ranks well in accuracy and distance. It doesn't hurt to have a couple extra yards off the tee, especially if you have some mild accuracy too, a la Scotty Scheffler. I think that's why he plays so well here too. Some other metrics that I want to just mention. Course history is very, very sticky at this kind of golf course. I think it demands a very specific, well-rounded skill set. So course history is always going to be a factor at Muirfield Village. And then just, if you think about why John Rahm is typically thrived, great driver of the golf ball, total driving, accuracy and distance, and then just long irons are sensational. From 200 plus, we see a lot more shots at a golf course like this than we typically do at any tour stop. So by quite a significant amount, almost 5%. So lots to like about this fun golf course that's going to play very, very tough. And it's going to be a good time watching these boys dismantle it, especially in the firm conditions. So, Kenny, mentioned some ProphetX stuff. I told someone, come take my money on a Jordan Spieth over 69.5. The model for Showdown projected him pretty poorly. And as a result, he shot 71. And I took that man's money. Hard-earned money that you can throw away though. And it was fun, and I do this thing, because I'm nice. I'm a nice guy. I gave this dude even money, plus 100. Kenny's out here taking your guys' juiced odds. He's taking the plus money side, showing you what you can benefit from being a ProphetX person, but he's still sourcing you. You know, like if you want to take a money that's probably the best odds in the market, come take my money. You know,
Yeah, no,
but Kenny's also out
I'm
there
greedy.
doing his thing. Yeah, you're very
I'm greedy as fuck. I'm trying to take the best shit possible. So I tried to get Scotty last week, plus top 10. I think it was like the number's like minus 400. I was trying to get like minus 300.
No, you're
My
talking
goal,
a matchup versus someone
yeah, it was. You're right. It was a matchup
versus
against
Tommy Fleetwood or something. Or
Yeah. I think it was a matchup against or Spieth. It was a matchup against somebody. I didn't. No one bought it. My goal here is to beat the books by 100 points for something. Like I want to be out of the. Like I want to have put up a number that's like 100 points better than the books. So what I did take what was it? Novak under 69.5 at plus 122. I think most books had him at like minus 115 for that under on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I had Spawn under 69.5 at plus 105. He was minus 125 on most books. So I got 30 to 35 points better than the books. And that's what's great about ProphetX, because you put your own odds in and somebody will match it. Like I said last week, if you do it early, that's when it gets matched. Like that when I did the Spawn one, I put that out right when the numbers came out Saturday night for Sunday, and someone matched me within 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Get those numbers out early before the lines really show something on there. And that's when you can, build your EV. You can, get all those added points, and those added points add up big time when you do top finishes, when you do matchups, when you do round scoring. I don't know if they're going to do finishing positions this week. They might. This is a big event, but I'll be looking at those finishing positions, and I like doing those mostly after the first two rounds. You get an idea of how your golfers are playing. You see how they're doing, what their form is leading up. How you get all those strokes gained numbers like Byron has on his Patreon on a round by round basis, right? And then it's easier to judge what they're going to do. So I usually play those on the weekend. So make sure you check out like Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning for those plays for me on ProphetX, because it really is a great site. Everyone should be on it if you're betting finishing positions, over-unders, and matchups. There's no other book that will come close to the numbers that you're going to get. There's nothing close to it.
No. And if you're using code FG Degenerates, you can get 1.5% profit cash back for every play for the first 30 days. So with the way the odds are put out there, you can arb. You can go and find a ProphetX odd that is plus 108, and then you can find another book that's got minus 106, and you just bet that, and then you get your 1.5% back up to $200. So you can easily kind of just school the system. This is what ProphetX is there for. They promote arbitrage betting. I know some of you don't understand what that is, but it's where you kind of you nickel and diming certified profits, like plus 108, minus 106, you're going to make a bit of profit on that. And that's why it's called ProphetX, baby, because X marks a spot where you can profit on X over there. I don't know where the hell that line went, and I'm sure they're going to hate it, but it's okay. I'm kind of hyping them up a little bit after that twisted T there, looking at Kenny's beautiful golf tan that I'm very, very jealous of. Shall we get into I haven't set up my system. We're recording early, so I don't have any of my data loaded up into the thing for the sweaty five, but I will guarantee you I'll be playing Scotty Scheffler top 5 market. Minus 163, I'm seeing out here. Tires paid in full, minus 150. If you can find it there, that is where I'll be going. This man is a bona fide top 5 player at this golf course. That's my favorite. I'm going to be laying the juice. That's all cool. I think he's going to be fantastic. And then I'll take a Shane Lowry minus 120 as well as a placement play there. I think he's a great course fit. If he can just keep his mental shit together, we're going to be Gucci. And then a Matt Fitzpatrick. We'll chat about that here shortly, Kenny. But hit me hit me up with your plays for this week.
So like I said this week, my strategy this week is to try and get as many top guys on my card as possible. So what I'm doing is I'm using Bet365 and I'm using the 3 places each way. And of course, this is our Kickback Golf betting segment. Make sure you go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FGD15. You can get all that cool merchandise that they have, jerseys with your favorite golfer's name on it, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys, cool stuff like that. Mike's probably showing it on the screen right now as we speak. So make sure you go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FTD15, get all their cool gear. Now, like I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to go with high-end guys, elite guys. My first one, I just think the win's coming. I'm going to keep betting him probably with these 3 places till it comes. It's going to be Xander at 20-1. With 3 places. Driver looked good at the PGA, and it's been a struggle for the early part of the year. It looked like he found something during the final round of the Truist. I think I spoke about that last week or a couple weeks ago. His iron game was poor at the PGA, but I'm feeling like that was an anomaly as he's had gained strokes in 6 of his 7 previous tourneys this year off with his irons. Has always played decent in Muirfield Village, but last year was his best performance with an 8th place finish. Like I said, I think he's going to win soon. I don't want to miss it. And I'm going to go ahead and take the 20-1 with 3 places. Next, I'm going Tommy Fleetwood, 30-1 with 3 places. I really do think he's actually going to win this event. I haven't bet him in a couple of years, but the way that he's been playing, he's back to where his form was when we were betting him all the time. Like 3-4 years ago.
He was winning all those years ago as well.
Well, he wasn't winning, but we were betting him all the time back then.
Okay.
But now, I 41 top 10s, it's just the law of averages, right? Like he has to come in and win one at some point in time. He's got the game to do it, but that's not the reason why I'm betting him. He's gained strokes in every strokes gain category in 3 of his last 4 events. I'm talking off the tee, approach, around the green and putting, all 4. In 3 of his last 4 events, he's been on the positive side. Has gained 5 strokes tee to green in 8 of his 11 events played this year. I think he's gained 6. He's gained 32 strokes on the field in his last 5 events. Okay, played this event for the first time in a while last year and had a respectable 20th place finish, and he wasn't playing anywhere near as well as he is now. I do think Tommy is winning this week. I'm going to put down a marker like Tim Andercuss. I'm laying a marker. Tommy Fleetwood is winning this event this week. There it is. He's going to miss the cut. And okay, again, there is a cut
no
this
cuts.
week, people.
There is?
No, there is. Jack, Arnie, and Tiger's events, right?
Invitations.
Don't they have cuts? Don't they have cuts? I'm pretty sure they do.
Pull up. There was a cut last year.
There was a cut last year, right?
Yeah.
So there is a cut again this year. So top 50 ties, so he's probably going to miss the cut. Anyways, my next is going to be Victor Hovland, 45-1 with 3 places. Top 10 in the field, approach and tee to green for his career on difficult scoring long courses. Second in birdie or better percentage in his career in the same difficult scoring long courses. Former winner here. Putts his best on bent. Iron play has been very, very strong this season. While his short game is still a weakness, you've seen more like 1.5 strokes lost, 1.4 strokes lost, 1.2 strokes lost. You're not seeing like the 3, the 4, the 6 strokes lost around the green that you have seen from him at certain points of his career. I like Hovland a lot this week, taking him 45-1. My next 2 are more gut plays. Next, it's going to be Decky, 45-1 with 3 places. Number one in my model in his career for long, difficult courses. Decky sort of wins out of nowhere, right? When he won the Century, I mean, it's sort of weird, but his prior start in the fall was a 46 at Zozo. When he won St. Jude last year, he won 68th, missed cut, 23rd in the 3 weeks prior. When he won Genesis last year, his 5 starts prior, 22nd, 71st, 13th, 30th, 58th. Even when he won the Masters, he came in with a 30th, missed cut, 28th, 15th, missed cut, 42nd, 53rd. He just sort of pops. His iron game and short game, always solid, right? And it was really good this past week. I think he gained 2.5 strokes with his irons. Again, this is a gut play, but and again, it would be a DFS play, and we'll talk about that more. But you just sort of, when he's not in anyone's radar, I feel like is the time to really go after him. And that's where I'm going with it for this week. And my final one is another gut play, 66-1, 3 places, Tony Finau. Gained in all strokes gained categories at the PGA. First time that has happened since the Memorial last year. Iron game looked really strong in Quail. Been very good off the tee and around the greens recently. His putter has been a weakness, but you've seen his best putting surface is on bent. All right. So 5 guys this week. Xander, all with 3 places. Xander, 20-1. Fleetwood, 30-1. Hovland, 45-1. Decky, 45-1. Finau, 66-1. And that's my card.
I love it, Kenny. I love it. I was looking at Tommy Fleetwood for the last 4 years, and he has never had the lead going into a final round on the PGA Tour since 2022. He's been the divine, but all of his best rounds entering the final round is Dubai Invitational, BMW PGA Championship, DP World Tour Championship. Then we got the Canadian Open. It's just he's just floating. Isn't he like Mr. Backdoor? I know we've spoken a lot about JT being the guy, but Jesus Christ, Tommy Fleetwood has some of the most uncompetitive top 5s, top 10s in the world, but like you said, you got nothing to lose yet, Kenny. The egg is going to be on my face after all the shit I've been talking about him anyway. But I've got a couple guys that are kind of matching up with you. I'll start off with Victor Hovland. I just think the course history is fantastic, and I'm going to be doing the 3 places each way with you on that one. Like you mentioned, the ball striking is sensational. He's very good out of hacking it out of the stick rough. That's his best.
Who was that again? I missed it.
Victor Hovland. You don't want him on tight, nippy lies. You want him chopping it out of that cabbage. Like we've seen him succeed at PGA Championships and Muirfield Village. Then give me Keegan Bradley. I think you mentioned it, Kenny. All of Keegan's wins or top 5 finishes have been the majority of them have been 3rd or better, right? So I like him in that 3-way each way market. For Keegan Bradley at 55-1. Thinking about a total driver of the golf ball, Keegan is one of the few dudes that has got some pop off the tee and is very, very accurate. So he just needs to figure out, is it around the green play at this golf course? Because the iron play is going to be there for Keegan. I love the ball striking, 55-1 with 3 places over there. Matt Fitzpatrick, 40-1 with 8 places each way. We're starting to see him trend in the right direction. Had no business showing up at Quail for the PGA Championship. Putted himself pretty much out of the tournament. He had a chance to kind of have a crack at it and missed a couple short putts. And we're starting to see the ball striking come together. And he's been very, very good at Muirfield. I think there's the 1 year where he's typically had some of his career best putting performances. The 1 year he showed up here and had his worst ever. Just completely forgot what was going on the greens. But he's got great feels around this golf course. So, Jesus, you know my feelings on Matt Fitzpatrick. I mean, the guy's blocked me on X. So if I'm betting the man, there's valid reason. And I think 40-1 with 8 places, I like his, finished 5th here last year, T8 in his last PGA Championship start. So I'm cool with that kind of form and recent form and track record at this golf course. And then that's going to be it for me for now. My confidence in the outright market, Kenny, is waning. I'm losing my mojo again. It's go with Scotty. Scotty doesn't pay off. Don't go with Scotty. Scotty wins. It's just not ideal right now. So I'm still licking my wounds. Those are my 3 guys. I'll add a couple more on my show tomorrow, 7 Eastern. Remember, also going with Shane Lowry, top 20, minus 120. If you're in the mood for Fitz, bet him top 10 as well in the placement market too. I'll be looking at Keegan in the top 20 market as well. Victor Hovland is an upside play. I'm not looking for any consistency from that madman. He doesn't even know where his game is, and neither do we. So how we can expect anything from a man that doesn't know If aliens exist or if his golf game is on track, that's yet to remain to be seen. Shall we get into some blood, sweat, and DFS tears for the Memorial Championship presented by MasterCard, Jack Nicklaus, blah, blah, blah. Kenny, where are we going at the top of the board? Just Scotty Scheffler's 13-3. I like that price still. I think it's still very fair for a golf course that suits his game.
It does, and I'm scared. I'm not going to play him. Like I said, I got 3 lineups, and I'm going a little different this week. I like Xander. I'm going to save the money. It's not like we have a 5K range, and it's not like the 6K range is like really strong,
Loaded.
especially
No.
For a field like this. So I'm going to go with Xander as what my favorite GPP play. I already talked about him in the betting card. I like. Here's the thing: like if you look at Scotty, Xander, JT, Colin, Cantlay, and probably even Fleetwood, the lowest owned golfer there, maybe Justin Thomas.
I mean, course history for Colin's going to be there, the form not. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that's a good question.
I think
keep
JT
chatting.
might
I'm
be,
actually going to pull it up.
I think JT might be the lowest owned, and I think it might put me on him. I know that he hasn't played that well here in the past, but his game's on a different level now. I know he missed the cut at the PGA, but it's a major. It's a little different situation. But prior to that, it was 3 top 2 finishes in his last 4 events. If he's going to be under owned, I'm going to look at him. I do want to check the ownership. But I do want to see that. Now, my first cash game cornerstone is actually going to be Morikawa. Again, the course history here for him is exceptionally strong. Again, he's played well here in the past. I know he hasn't been like the best, but his iron game is still really, really good. Really good from 150 to 200. You're going to see a lot of approaches there, and also from 200 plus. When he actually gained strokes in his career on bent. I know his iron game hasn't been the greatest the last couple, but hopefully that's just an anomaly on 2 pretty difficult courses. Prior to that, he had long strokes in like 8 events, so I'm hoping that iron game gets back up. His short game has been better. It has been improved, so I'm going to go ahead and take Morikawa as my first cash game cornerstone for the week. And my next is going to be Fleetwood down here. I already talked about him. I think he's going to win. Not hard to see why. He's going to be my second play. One guy, and of course, I'm going to play Lindeque. I think he's going to be underlooked. Lindeque is actually going to be my hustler play of the week. It was going to be between him or JT. I think Lindeque's ownership is going to be low. I think you're going to see sub 12%, maybe even single digits for Lindeque this week. And that's the time you really jump on Hideki Matsuyama. When he's going overlooked is when you jump on him. His short game is elite. He's really good from 150 to 200. You're going to see, I think, 60%, 50% of all approaches coming from that range. You're going to see probably like 20-something odd percent, 30% come from 200 plus. But he's really, really good from 150 to 200. And so he will be my hustler play of the week. Again, like I said before, he's number 1 in my model on long, difficult scoring courses throughout his career. And I'm going to rely on that for Mr. Hideki Matsuyama as my hustler play of the week.
In honor of your hustler play of the week, we've got to repost that time that Hideki got disqualified from the Memorial after having wide out on his driver head, after Patrick Reed ratted him out to the officiators. And it was quite crazy to see how much wide out he had on there. It was a lot. It looked like a drunken nail parlor on that club face, but it was really impressive. So got to tweet that out there so we can make sure the ownership remains low in case people start wanting to jump on there. We got to get that propaganda out there to keep him hustling. We got to hustle for our hustler play of the week. So I think we're going to rock and roll with that. as always, I think another great option. It kind of worked out quite nicely last week, where you kind of take Scotty Scheffler in your GPPs, you leave him in your single entries. You're just trying to look for that. Again, without the 5K range, it's going to be hard to find those 5 guys that match up. We're in a signature field event, tons of balanced options available to you there. So I think that's a solid way to kind of approach the DFS slate again this week. I think just every week, Scotty Scheffler is this kind of price. So you got to roll with that. Personally, I'm out on Colin. I just think ever since he bitched and ran his mouth like he thought he was an alpha after, losing out at the API, he's been really, really and he just hasn't walked out there to back himself. His best finish has been a T10 since he came at the media, since he said he didn't owe us anything. I think he's not comfortable in his own skin right now. There's some people that can thrive off of confrontation, and I think he kind of outpunted his coverage there and has outpunted his confidence levels too. So I'm out on Colin Morikawa until further notice. He kind of lost me my top 20 in all 4 majors at the PGA Championship with a very lifeless performance over there. I do like Xander Schauffele at 10-9. I think he's starting to find his groove. By the way, he was one of the people that had to change his driver as well at the PGA Championship and led, was top 3 in the field in driving off the tee and couldn't figure out the rest of his game. So hopefully he can continue that. But at the same time, I don't know if are we wanting to be early on Xander or wait for him to kind of really show up?
I think
he really
hasn't
showed up yet,
No, but it's all going to come together at some point in time. He looked good in every aspect except his irons at the PGA Championship. And you expect him to be one of the best iron players in the world. I think if he can keep everything else the way it is and get that iron game back the way it should be, he should be in contention.
And he is a better long iron player than Scotty Scheffler. Statistically, he is better from 200 plus. He's just so good with the long iron. So at a golf course like this, that should pay off at some point. Corey Connors at $9,100 seems fair. I think he's one of these guys that you can just plug in to hopefully get you that your T10, your T7, and then kind of find the rest of the squad around him. I don't see significant upside, but we have seen his short game start popping. And, he is one of the most accurate drivers of the golf ball. Very good long iron player as well. So he'll be someone I'm in the mood for in this lower range. I'm also in on Victor Hovland. For a GPP, I think, and in DFS, you're shooting for upside. He's going to miss the cut or he's going to finish inside the top 5 this week, I think. That's just what Victor Hovland is going to give you. That's what you want in order to win these things at $8,900. So Kenny, any guys in the lower 9s, upper 8s that you're in the mood to pair up with Xander?
I actually like Hovland in cash. I'm going to go ahead and use him as my third cash game cornerstone. I'm going to use him as my third cash game cornerstone for the week. Again, his numbers are great. His iron game is elite. He putts better on bent than any other surface around. He hasn't missed a cut in his last 5. Ever since his win at the Valspar. He's been making the cuts that he needs to make. And I'm going to go ahead and I like Victor this week with his course history. He's going to be my third cash game cornerstone. I like Sepp Straka. Good, again, elite iron play is what you're looking for this week. And he's got that. So I do like Giuseppe Straka up here in the upper 8K range. And then Shane Lowry is interesting also. I think you've talked about him already. Again, iron play, tee to green, exceptionally solid, good around the greens. It seems like he makes sense. In GPPs, I do like Tony Finau down in the lower 8K range. I went ahead and talked about that on the betting segment. Who do you like?
I got burnt to a crisp by Russell Henley at the PGA Championship. They just did not show up. Patrick Reed, Justin Rose, Russell Henley, my triple R rated squad. For the claw down in the 8K, let me down. I'm going back to him. If you're looking for elite accuracy off the tee, he's got that. He's a very good iron player and his short game is sensational. So if you're using comps like Bay Hill at a golf course like this, I think Russell Henley is a guy that you can definitely look for at $8,400. By the way, Oakmont, I think he's one of my dark horses at Oakmont again this upcoming US Open. So he's going to be fun. I like Sepp Straka, Kenny. My concern is the short game. But he's so consistent from the fairways that he's going to probably give himself a lot more putts than chips compared to the rest of the field. Give me some Matt Fitzpatrick at 8K flat and Keegan Bradley, my three guys that I kind of really spoke about there already, and in the betting portion of the show. I think two really affordable options that can provide you with insane upside at $8,000. Siwoo Kim has also got my attention at $8,300. You know, he's ultra accurate off the tee and has shown some really, really impressive form the last little while. So I'm really digging this 8K range, especially if I'm going to be playing the Scotty Scheffler lineup. You know, you can maybe sneak one or two 8K options in there and then really scrounge around the bottom of the barrel in the 6K range and lower sevens to kind of fill out the lineups, which, you know, sometimes you got to do. So yeah, that's what I'm doing in the 8s. In the 7s, Kenny, where are you looking and who's looking good?
Yeah, I like this lower 8K range a lot more than this higher 7K range. I'm looking at Denny McCarthy maybe with his course history here, and I'm thinking about going back to Ben Griffin. Again,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, because the thing about him is he's old, he's not young, he's got a family, he's not going out and getting blackout drunk after his victory. You know, he's going to come out there. He's trying to make as much money as possible because, you know, he used to be they had a desk job 4 years ago. You might as well just crank up all this dough. But I mean, his iron game is very strong. Top 15 in app and approach, top 15 in tee to green in this field in the last 24 rounds. I like that he doesn't make very many mistakes. Third in bogey avoidance in the field in the last 24 rounds. And the short game is pretty damn good, especially when you take into account his putting and you add the scrambling. And he's good from the yardages I'm looking for, inside the top 25, top 35, from 150 to 200. So I do like him. My favorite plays in the 7K range are more on the bottom. JJ Spawn, again, good iron game. Good on par fours, good scrambler. Had a good showing last week with the top 6. I like Taylor Penrith, came out with a top 10 at the PGA Championship. Again, good with his proximity from the areas that I'm looking for this week. A good putter, a well above average iron player. Novak, I'm going to go back with him. I mean, tee to green, he's been top 10 in this field in the last 24 rounds. Excellent around the greens. I really like Novak a lot this week.
I like him too, Kenny. That Griffin Novak team was, I mean, they deserve to win the Zurich, considering what they've done individually this year as well.
They look like I think Novak is 7th in the Ryder Cup, and then I think Ben Griffith is 13th in the Ryder Cup. I mean, both of these guys have chances, and we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. We only got a couple of months till they start making these teams, and both of these guys have a chance to be in the top 6 to get an automatic spot. They have a chance. I mean, Ben probably needs another win, but I mean, Novak can do it with like top 10s. You know, he could get that 6th spot. He's 7th right now. I mean, I sort of like Novak in the Ryder Cup. Like, he just seems like that fiery,
so scrappy.
We'll keep the team loose, you know, because he's sort of a funny guy, and you know, he hosts his own podcast about football. You know, he's an outgoing dude. I feel like he'd be good for the locker room, so I hope he makes it.
Yeah, and you know what? We're so scared to add new blood, but we waddling out fucking dead platelets in Jordan Spieth's body all fucking time. You know, like, just because he's Jordan Spieth, we keep throwing him in these Ryder Cup. He's ass. He's just he's like mediocre right now. He is Jordan Spieth. I understand it, but he hasn't even been good in past Ryder Cups. So new blood is imperative right now. We've got the core at the top. Find a couple new guys. Let's freaking go. You know, I think that's the way to absolutely kind of change the whole dynamic. Maybe we win Bethpage with the same blueprint, but going over to Europe, you got to have some guys that don't have that scar tissue that's been fucking pounded into their brain in the last 2 decades. So Ryder Cup tangent over there. Ben Griffin, $7,800. I think he's going to be one of these dudes, Kenny, that you mentioned, like low owned because he won last week. You know, I think, again, like you take a look at him and his girlfriend, they are knocking
that's been a little bit less than it used to be. People are getting smarter about that. But yes, I do think his ownership will be a little bit less than it should be.
Yeah. I'm going back to Maverick McNeely, who I took for my one and done last week, and completely just immediately, I think the first hole he made double. Like, it's like, all right, thanks, bro. I know where I stand with you. Appreciate you not leading me on there to Catfish City. But I'm going back to him. Robert McIntyre was all over him last week as well, like 3% owned. at like $9,400. He was absurdly low owned for someone that price. Now we get him at 77. He paid quite nicely last week. I like his distance, his scrappiness around a course like this. You think RBC Canadian's kind of similar type environment, with the course having thick rough. Andrew Novak, and then Davis Thompson. Very, very good when it comes to total driving as well. Very accurate off the tee given his distance. And he putted his brains out on bent grass greens at the John Deere Classic last year when I was there watching him. It was very impressive. And I think he suits courses like this quite nicely. So he's a $7,000 flat option that I don't see myself not playing. And then some Harris English, $7,800. I think if you're taking a look at some Torrey Pines South comp course situations, if you're taking a look at Bay Hill, Harris has always showed up at these kind of things, played quite nicely at Quail. Kenny, do you think Quail's like, do you like what guys got up to at Quail as a comp course / also recent form bucket to check? You know, I think thick rough.
It's close. It's a little bit more driver at Quail
Right.
than here, but yes, you know, the way that with the thick rough and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, and by the way, there's 2 holes that are really, really short here that guys are hitting irons off the tee as well. So those are a little misleading when the driving stats come in much lower than normal, but there are a lot more 3-woods and you know, a couple drivers as well. But total drivers of the ball can really get it done. Maybe some Alex Lauren then, if we're speaking about that. You know, if you're playing Scotty Scheffler, you got to find guys in the $7,000 range that you really like. So I'm in on those dudes. We'll see what they can get up to. I'm out on Justin Rose until we get into Oakmont again, maybe. See what we can do with him in the majors. But in the Sixers, Kenny, Seth Theegala making his return after injury. Bezzy doing his thing. He's played quite nicely at this course in the past. Bud Cauley, Michael Kim, Carson Young, Cameron Young. I don't know which one that is. Where are you going in the Sixers?
Yeah, I like Bazine Hoot at 6,900. I can get behind him with his good short game. Good par 4 scoring and a good finish last week at Colonial. My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Bud Cauley. He's just been playing too well. He's going to be the chalk. So if you want to fade him in GPPs, that's definitely an option because he's going to be the highest owned guy in the 6K range. But I just can't ignore what he's doing on the course in the last 6 weeks, 2 months. Plus his stats just line up so well. He's top 10 in my model. 11th with his approach, you know, tee to green, really, really solid. Short game, you know, well above average, really good in the proximity ranges that I'm looking for. Really strong par 4. You've seen guys who win this event, they tend to do really well on the par 4s. So I'm looking at a strokes gained par 4, and he's like second in the field in the last 24 rounds. So my cash game cornerstones for this week, it's going to be Morikawa at 9,900, Fleetwood at 9,400, Hovland at 8,900, Cauley at $6,800. I think I filled out the rest of my lineup. I think I filled out the rest of my lineup with Novak and Denny, but that might change. I don't know if I might go with Benny Griffin instead, but that's what I have right now.
In cash.
In cash, yeah. That's what I have. The way Ben's been playing, I like him. And I'm not the biggest fan of not that many people in this upper 7K range. I thought about Fitz, but I think he's more of a GPP play. Denny, I think, is more of a GPP play. I think Griffin's can post another solid finish again this week, even after the victory. But we'll see about that. Other guys I do like, Ryan Fox down here at $6,500 with the win. Good finish at the PGA Championship. He's coming in hot. You know, his iron game is well above average. He's number 1 in this field from 150 to 175 in the last 24 rounds. I like Ryan Fox. Eric Cole at 6,600 has just been doing his thing, going out there. He had a shitty Sunday that brought him down, but he's just been coasting, having some good mid-level finishes, 25th to 35th round. Maybe at one point he'll spike up a little bit. He has, but again, his iron game is really, really strong, and that's why I do like him. This week, if you're looking for something low, once you get below 6,500, you know, Manny Smith might be the most popular just because of what he did last week, but I don't know if I can get back on him. Now, his iron game is good though. That's the thing, but his putter, and you know, and he's actually the best in the field from 150 to 200 in the last 24 rounds. Like better than Scotty. Like he's the best in the field from 150 to 200. So I will take a peek at him. Maybe people will think like me and then think last week was a aberration because of the putter, but his iron game has been very, very good. And so it might be worth going back to Schmid. Another guy down here at 6,200. Chris Kirk is top 10 in my model when you go on long, difficult courses, difficult scoring courses throughout his career. Again, 5% or less owned this week. It would be good for a Scotty lineup. Maybe put a little, Chris Kirk, Matty Schmid duo down there, so you can actually get some guys, one guy in the 8K range and a couple of guys in that 7K range if you want to go Scotty this week.
Yeah. I think they're starting to price Scotty fairly. I think we're starting to, even though he's highly owned still, it's so difficult to find the guys around him, which is the epitome of a good build. Some other names in the 6Ks, Mackenzie Hughes has started to flash some driver surging. He's really started to find his driver, both accuracy and distance again, and he's really, really scrappy around the greens. He can chip and putt his way through pretty much a thunderstorm. Max Grieseman is someone that's starting to find his groove again a little bit, $6,700. I don't mind him. But Carly, you mentioned already. Ryan Gerard, I think just keep going back to the well on this man. He's playing some really, really good golf. Got off to a bit of a bad start. At the Charles Schwab, it happens. It is what it is. I think he's back on track again this week. And then 2 gems. $6,100 Mathieu Pavon played quite nicely at the PGA Championship. Shout out Corey Pavon over there. But Mathieu, I think at $6,100 is someone you just got to keep playing in your GPPs. You never know when he's going to play well. He just does. And I think the bigger the event, the more likely he is to show up. So US Open at Oakmont, Mathieu Pavon needs to be in your lineups for sure. And then Harry Higgs, $6,000 flat. Long off the tee, not the greatest with the accuracy side of things, but very scrappy. He can, when you're playing difficult conditions, I think Harry Higgs thrives in them because you're looking to make pars, and he's very good at just making a par out of nothing. And he's $6,000 for free at 6K flat. So you'll see what we can do over there. Brian Campbell, I'll be playing again at $6,100. I think this is a perfect golf course to play him as a low leverage option. It's not a perfect golf course for him, but he's low-key very good hitting his 7 woods and 5 woods where everyone hits their 5 irons from. So I like him a lot this week as well. This is going to be the week, friends, that I play Scotty Scheffler in 1 and done. I've been holstering him for a while. I think this makes complete sense at a golf course like this. He's playing sensational golf. Short gamed himself out of it last week, unfortunately for me, but I think this is the time I'm going to be pulling him. Now, remember, I played Rory at the Genesis Invitational and his worst putting performance ever over the weekend. So beware. I have played Scotty Scheffler in the 1.
Yeah, I think I'm going Sepp or Hovland this week in the Mayo Cup. I think I'm going Sepp or Hovland. I'm leaning Sepp, trying to save some of the studs for some other tournaments, but we'll see how that goes. Slider Cup, I'm not sure. I'm in 3rd place right now. I got to figure out who I've used and who I haven't, because I have to save guys for the playoffs. So I might be using guys that normally you wouldn't think about for an event like this. So I mean, maybe Novak. I might throw Novak. Maybe a Novak Fitzpatrick or something like that.
Novak Norin. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes for that. But I think I'm going to go Sepp or Hovland for the Mayo Cup.
Beautiful, Kenny. I wish you I'm pretty much out of the 1 and dones. I've holstered my guys too long, and then every time I pull the trigger, they just don't show up.
The key to 1 and done in the Mayo Cup is not holstering guys. You play the best guys early, get yourself a good position near the top, and then try and make yourself save a couple of guys for the end. For like the FedEx St. Jude, and not FedEx St. Jude. The last one's the Wyndham, I guess. For the Wyndham, and then don't holster guys because there's only 40 events, 30 or something events. You play the guys, you get up early, you get on top of that because I've cashed I think 2 out of the 3 years I played, 2 out of the 4 maybe. And that's usually been my technique. I don't mind using the big guys early. Get yourself a nice spot up in near the top of the leaderboard, in the cash at least, before you get to the last month and then last 6 weeks. And then hopefully you just pick the right guys, the guys you have left. And in the last 2 events, you save like some studs but the problem is you don't know who's playing those events. Those aren't future events. So it's tough sometimes.
It is, especially when you use Rory at the Genesis and he puts his way like it is. I missed out big there. Everyone that played him probably got a win, so fuck my life again. But anyway, if you're in the mood to join the Model Maniac Patreon, use code FGD50 to get 50% off the first month. Link in the description below, or check out my X account at the Model Maniac. That link is right there for you too. All my tools, all my showdown stuff after each round. When everyone else is resting, putting their feet up, boy, the Model Maniac is grinding from car parking lots, giving you showdown content like you guys deserve. So I appreciate all of you guys. Shout out ProphetX. Use code FG Degenerates, 1.5% profit cash for your first $200 back of your first 30 days playing over there. And then, Kenny, get us the hell out of here with FGD15 at kickbackgolf.com for some sweet, sick paraphernalia and merchandise over there. I'm still excited. I don't know if they've released the Scotty Scheffler US PGA Championship one yet, but a Scheffler blue and white and red type situation is going to look, America on Scotty would be real nice. So Kenny, get us the hell out of here. Happy Memorial Week to you all.
Yeah, find me on X at KendoVT. I'll have my ProphetX plays out there for the week. Make sure you go to ProphetX. I mean, that site is incredible. It is going to take over. Sites like that are going to be so big here soon. You want to get in on early. When you get to those sites early, that's when you make the money. So go to ProphetX, use promo code FG Degenerates. Should be a fun week. This is always a great event on a great course with a great field. Let's get an outright win. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third. Jordan Belfort.
Let's get a Tommy win. How about that? Let's get a
That would be-
Fleetwood win outright. Okay.
Tommy's gonna win. I'm
Kenny,
dead serious.
If you are on Tommy Fleetwood for a win, you are like a bona fide, and you're not a Tommy Fleetwood homer.
No,
I think
I'm not.
you are like a bona fide outright specialist.
Like I haven't bet
because-
him I haven't bet him in over 2 years. It's just I
Yeah.
got a feeling about this week. I mean, he's just playing so well, and it seems like it has to happen at some point. And I think this is the type of course where it could happen for him. With his iron game being so good here recently, and that's just what you're looking for. I like him. I like
great
him.
winning track record there, for sure.
I mean, we'll see how it goes.
You got to win first. You got to have your first win at some point, in your life. Might as well do it when you're in your 40s, Tommy.
I put on your cash game graphic for the name. He's not winning, bro.
He's already.
Nice second, Silver Fleetwood. I mean, his like signature win was the silver medal. Like the one contest that he could have finished second and got like mad respect for was the fucking Olympics. With Scott.
Yeah.
Scotty got the gold as everyone should have expected, and then Tommy gets the silver medal. I think that's the highlight of his career. It's like his win on the PGA Tour. So.
All right.
All right.
Next week.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm about to slap a couple into the trees here. So have a
Oh,
good
yeah,
one, boys.
hit
Thanks
him-
for
hit
your
him straight.
Round.
I'm thinking maybe going to the range. We'll see.
Yeah, go work on that tan. Wear a tank top.